your dog stretched the second you walked through the door last night. Maybe they dropped into that low bow right at your feet, front legs forward, chest to the floor. Maybe they padded over in the morning before you said a single word and stretched out long and slow right beside you. Maybe they planted themselves directly in your path and you stepped around them without thinking twice. You smiled each time, said something cute, and moved on. But here is what no one ever tells you. Those moments were not random, not muscle tension, not coincidence. Not a dog just being a dog. Every single one of those movements was a deliberate message aimed specifically at you. And that message has been waiting every single day. Until right now, you have never once received it. Stay until the end, because what you are about to learn will change every moment you have left with your dog. 1. Your dog is not stretching. Here is the question no one ever thinks to ask. If your dog simply needed to loosen up stiff muscles, why does that stretch happen the exact second you walk through the door? Not 10 minutes before you arrived, not sometime while you were gone, but the precise moment you appear. That timing is not an accident, and it has nothing to do with physical tension. Animal behaviorists have a name for this. They call it the greeting bow. It looks almost identical to something you have probably seen 100 times. Front legs pushed forward, chest dropped low, rear end up. But the context is entirely different from a play invitation. This is not your dog asking you to chase them around the living room. This is a deliberate, directed signal with one specific audience in mind. And that audience is you. Researchers who study canine communication describe it as one of the most intentional displays in a dog's entire social repertoire, a physical response that fires the moment your dog's brain registers that you, specifically, have come home. And here is something worth sitting with before we go any further. Not everyone in your home gets this. Pay close attention to that detail, because it is about to mean a great deal more than you expect. 2. Why this behavior only exists because of you. Consider this for a moment. Wolves do not do this. Dogs living in the wild, without consistent human contact, rarely develop this behavior with any real intentionality. It does not appear in predatory sequences. It does not surface in dog-to-dog interactions, which means what you're witnessing when your dog bows in front of you is not ancient instinct. It is not something hardwired into them 10,000 years ago for survival. This behavior was born from proximity to us. A landmark study published in the journal Learning and Behavior found that domestic dogs have developed an entire suite of communication behaviors used almost exclusively in human-directed social contexts. Not for hunting, not for interacting with other dogs, just for us. What that means is extraordinary. Dogs did not simply learn to tolerate living alongside humans. They rewired how they communicate, invented new signals, learned what made us pause, what made us engage, what made us feel seen by them. The greeting bow is one of the most refined products of that entire process. Your dog is not running ancient software. They are running something that only makes sense because you exist in their world. That adaptation goes even deeper than behavior, and what your dog is physically leaving behind during that stretch is something most owners have never once considered. 3. The invisible signature. Your dog leaves on your space. Most owners have never considered this, and once you know it, you will never look at that stretch the same way again. Tucked between your dog's paw pads on all 4 feet are small but highly active glands called interdigital glands. Every time your dog presses their paws into a surface during that bow, those glands release chemical signals called pheromones. You cannot smell them, you will never detect them, but to another dog they are unmistakable. When your dog stretches across the rug at the foot of your bed, or drops into a bow on the floor where you always stand, they are not just greeting you in that moment, they are leaving a permanent record of your importance. Researchers at the University of Lincoln's Animal Behavior and Welfare Group documented how dogs use scent markings specifically for social bonding, to reinforce attachment and build a sensory map of the beings they are most connected to. This is called affiliation marking. Your dog is signing their name on the spaces you inhabit, declaring that you belong in their world, even when you are not there. They do not do this for strangers. They do it for the ones who matter. And if you have noticed your dog doing this for you, but not for someone else in your home, the next section is going to make that feel very different. 4. Why your dog does this for you and not for everyone else. Picture this. A visitor walks through your front door. Your dog glances over, registers them, and then turns and walks directly to you, dropping into a full bow right at your feet. Not at the visitor. Not at anyone else in the room. You. That moment is not random, and it's not about who fills the food bowl most often. Dogs form what researchers call attachment hierarchies. A study published in Applied Animal Behavior Science demonstrated that dogs clearly differentiate between their primary attachment figure and every other human in their environment, expressing that differentiation through eye contact, physical proximity, and directed social displays exactly like the greeting bow. When your dog turns their body toward you, keeps you in their line of sight, and performs that display with you as the clear focal point. Ethologists call that a directed social behavior. You are not a bystander in that moment. You are the entire reason it is happening. Now here is the part that may sting slightly. If your dog reserves this for someone else in your household and not for you, it does not mean they dislike you. The bond is not assigned by history or affection alone. It is built through consistent calm presence, predictable energy, and genuine acknowledgement, accumulated slowly over time through hundreds of small moments. The answer is never more treats. It is more presence. Nothing makes that clearer than what happens in the very first moments of every single morning. 5. The morning stretch. Your dog has been watching you sleep. You have not checked your phone. You have not said a single word, and yet your dog is already there, stretching out beside you before your eyes are fully open. Most people assume this is simply a dog waking up. It is something far more deliberate. Dogs synchronize their rest and waking patterns directly to yours. Research using actigraphy shows they sleep when you sleep and begin stirring as your breathing shifts toward wakefulness before you are consciously aware of it yourself. They have been monitoring you, not anxiously, but the way a deeply bonded animal watches over the one they feel most responsible for. Behavioral researcher Alexandra Hurwitz of Barnard College describes how dogs use physical expression as a bridge between states, between sleep and activity, between separation and reunion. The morning stretch is that bridge, and if someone else shares your space, pay attention to who your dog directs it toward. Your dog is choosing where to send the first social moment of their entire day. If that is you, feel that same intentionality shows up again later, in a moment so ordinary you have never once questioned it. 6. The strategic block. Your dog is smarter than you think. Every dog owner knows this moment. You get up to walk to the kitchen, or cross the room to grab something, and somehow your dog is already stretched out directly in the middle of your path. You step around them, maybe laugh, maybe say their name, and your dog barely moves. What looks like clumsiness or coincidence is neither of those things. Dogs map the movement patterns of the people they live with in extraordinary detail. They know which doorways you use, where you pause, the exact geometry of how you move through your shared space. Choosing to stretch in your path is not accidental positioning. Researchers at the University of Veterinary Medicine in Vienna found that dogs consistently place themselves in high-traffic zones as a primary strategy for initiating social contact. Behaviorists call this proximity seeking through environmental positioning. Your dog is using the space itself as a tool to engineer one guaranteed moment of your complete attention. And it works almost every single time. Every time you stop, you teach them it works, and they remember everything. But what happens when a dog stops doing any of this entirely is something most owners completely misread. 7. If your dog doesn't do this. What it actually means. Maybe you have been watching this entire time thinking your dog does not really do any of this. This part matters. Dogs who rarely show this behavior almost always fall into one of 3 situations. Some carry chronic tension from unstable environments and unpredictable schedules, and that stress suppresses spontaneous social displays entirely. Others tried for months, performed every signal they had, received nothing back, and quietly stopped. That is not a broken bond. That is a communication gap that can be rebuilt, and some dogs simply express attachment differently by nature, shaped by breed and individual temperament. The absence of this specific display never means the absence of love. What matters is whether you are paying attention to whatever your dog is actually doing, every single day, in their own quiet language. Everything we have covered today leads to one final thing. What you do next changes everything. Your dog stretched the second you walked through the door last night. You smiled and moved on. Now you know what they were actually saying. That bow, that morning stretch, that deliberate placement in your path, none of it was random. All of it was directed at you, on purpose, every single time. When your dog drops into that bow in front of you, do one thing differently from this moment forward. Pause completely. Meet their eyes softly. Say their name in a quiet, warm voice. If they are open to it, reach down slowly and make contact. You are not simply rewarding behavior in that moment. You are telling them in the clearest language you have, I received that. I see you. That is all they were ever trying to say. If this changed the way you see your dog, you are exactly who Soulful Paws was made for. Subscribe, because every week we go deeper into the inner life of the animal who chose you. And share this with someone who loves their dog. They need to see it too.